Just because you own a MacBook Air doesn't mean you can't play some fantastic games. Today I want to share with you my top 20 MacBook Air games of 2019. These 20 games are playable on all MacBook Airs released since mid-2012, some even before that. For reference, all these games have been played and externally recorded on a 11-inch mid-2013 MacBook Air. Anyway, let's get to it. Number 20, we have Return of the Obra Dinn. MacBook Airs are not really capable of playing games with advanced 3D graphics. This is why this first-person adventure game with its old-style graphics is perfect for a MacBook Air. Return of the Obra Dinn doesn't require a powerful graphics card to run well. You play as a detective who is tasked to find out why this Obra Dinn ship has arrived into port at Foulmouth and why the boat is damaged and why the crew are dead or missing. When you stand next to a corpse, the game allows you to travel back in time to when this individual was killed. It's a very cool feature and it makes this game super unique. Number 19 is Deltarune. Chapter 1 for this game is free on the game's official website, so you can download it from the link in the description if you want. The second chapter is coming later this year, but I'm not sure if it will be free or if it will be on Steam or whatever. Deltarune is a role-playing game where you play as a human named Chris. Chris and his classmate fall into an unknown place known as Dark World, which is inhabited by dangerous monsters. The goal is to basically get out of this place. Deltarune is created by Fox, and it is related to their previous game Undertale, so the gameplay is very similar from the art style to the gameplay, for example when you're fighting enemies. Number 18, we have Sky, Children of Light. Here we have an upcoming free social adventure game. It is coming to iPhone and iPad first in July for free, with the macOS release coming shortly after. You can explore worlds, solve puzzles, and partner with up to 8 other players. I haven't played much of this game on Mac, only like 10 minutes, so I'm sorry there's not much gameplay, but from what I've seen, it's very well optimized for MacBook Airs. Sky may run at 30 frames per second on older MacBook Airs, but it's still perfectly playable and it's powered by the Metal API. Number 17 is Horizon Chase Turbo. If you're after a great racing game for your MacBook Air, look towards Horizon Chase Turbo. It has old-style graphics that represent similar games from the 80s and 90s, but it also mixes in modern elements. This allows the game to run, for the most part, at over 50 frames on all MacBook Airs from 2012 onwards. It may sometimes dip into the 40s, but that's dependent on your hardware. It is an arcade racing game that has many locations, cars to be driven, and power-ups to collect along the way. It can be played in split screen also across all the game modes on offer. There is a free demo of this game available on Steam. Number 16, we have Celeste. In this amazing platformer, you are tasked with helping Madeline climb a mountain. Madeline is also challenged by her inner demon, which is a representation of her dark side. The controls are very easy to use. You simply need to jump, air dash, and climb to reach the top of the mountain, but the levels are filled with obstacles and very challenging platform environments to make all this a difficult task. Celeste has heaps of challenging platforming levels to be completed, a narrative to experience, and interesting characters to meet along the way. Number 15 is The Witness. Thanks to the power of the Metal API, The Witness can run on all MacBook Airs back to mid-2012. Now yes, your frame rate may be 25 to 30 frames on 2012 to 2013 models though, but this game doesn't require a very high frame rate to enjoy it. In The Witness, you wake up on a strange island that is packed to the brim full of puzzles. Solving these puzzles will unlock more areas around the island, which allows you to find clues, bring back your memory, and hopefully to find a way off the island. If you enjoy puzzle games and exploration titles, The Witness is a great game for you or your MacBook Air. Number 14, we have Stardew Valley. This game should actually run on all MacBook Airs back to 2008, if you happen to own one that is that old, but don't hold me on that. Stardew Valley is a role-playing farming simulator. You must take care of your farm, look after animals, talk to other characters, and over time, you can improve your skills. You can do so much in this game. It is incredible what's on offer to you. Be warned though, Stardew Valley is notorious for being super addictive. Make sure you have a lot of time to invest into the game to see what it truly offers, is what I'm trying to say. Number 13 is Batman: Arkham City. While this is an old game, it's a good example of the type of AAA games you should play on MacBook Airs. But also, I've put this game here because Feral Interactive, the devs who ported this game to Mac, have updated it to work with modern Macs. It is now a 64-bit app with Metal support. Arkham City is officially supported on all MacBook Airs released since mid-2012. However, there are a few things to consider. The loading times can be quite long on a MacBook Air, and if you have a 2012 to 2013 model, you will be playing at an average 25 to 30 frames per second at low settings. But this game still plays and looks great at these settings regardless. If you're after an action-adventure game, Batman: Arkham City is the best game for you, as it's not too demanding. Number 12, we have Into the Breach. This is a turn-based strategy game where you have to defend cities against an alien threat. Into the Breach revolves around time, but also randomly generated worlds. So whenever you complete a level, the next one offers you a completely new environment. It just keeps things fresh. Plus, if you are defeated, you are sent back in time to another timeline to save another city. It's a great little strategy game that is incredibly difficult to master as the gameplay is not forgiving. You will die a lot. Into the Breach should work on MacBook Airs back to late 2008. Number 11 is Skillwarz. Finding an FPS game for your MacBook Air is a difficult task. This is because it is very challenging to find one that can easily receive 40 to 60 frames per second, which is required to play competitively in these types of games. So Skillwarz is a good option for Air users, and it's completely free to play and is downloadable from itch.io. It has 20 maps on offer, different weapons to choose, which have attachments as well that you can put on, such as silencers, different sights, and camos. It's a very underrated game, so I highly recommend checking it out. Number 10, we have Rimworld. This is a sci-fi colony sim that is driven by a very smart AI storytelling system. You start off with just 3 survivors, and from here you must begin to build, manage, trade, explore, and fight off enemies. I highly suggest that, like me, you start this game by going into the tutorial, as it can be somewhat overwhelming at first to understand how to play. I just really strongly suggest that. But after a while, once you get used to how it operates and works, it's actually quite relaxing and can be a very good background game. But like Stardew Valley, be warned, it can be very hard to stop playing, as it's quite addictive. Number 9 is Dusk. Here is another FPS game for you MacBook Air users. Because it has old-style graphics, it can run on all MacBook Airs back to 2012 perfectly. The game is inspired by 90s classics, such as Quake, Half-Life, or Doom for instance. Dusk offers 3 campaign episodes where you battle frightening enemies. To fight back, you'll have different weaponry available to you, such as sickles, swords, crossbows, rifles, shotguns, etc. Plus, Dusk also has an arena mode, which is very fun to play with other players. Number 8, we have Dead Cells. I really enjoy playing this game. It has great action gameplay that is simple to get into, but as you play, it becomes incredibly difficult. If you don't know, Dead Cells plays differently to other platformers out there. It has no checkpoints, for example, and when you die, you go all the way back to the start. It might sound annoying, but since it has procedurally generated levels, it's not the same experience over and over again. There's always something different to see on your journey. There are lots of weapons to unlock and find, different enemies to battle, well-crafted controls are here, and really colourful graphics too. Number 7 is Slay the Spire. The graphics here might be simplistic, but the gameplay is really fun and addicting, guys. Slay the Spire is a turn-based strategy game that has you passing through levels, and as the title of the game says, you will slay monsters along your journey. You can upgrade your skills and attacks as you progress, and you can choose different paths to go down, which offer different story outcomes. Slay the Spire is incredibly challenging and absolutely doesn't hold your hand at any given moment throughout the entire gameplay. Number 6 is Iron Marines. Originally, Iron Marines was a mobile title, but this year it was ported to PCs. This is a good thing because Iron Marines is much more suited to a PC environment with a mouse and keyboard, in my opinion. It's a real-time, dynamic and deep strategy game that takes place on alien planets. The gameplay might be inspired by StarCraft, but the difference here is that Iron Marines has a more arcade tone with a very colourful art style and visuals, graphics, whatever, and it mixes in funny humour. Number 5, we have Vainglory. Some of you might be saying, why would you not put Dota 2 or League of Legends on this list? Well, while those games are great, don't get me wrong, they are too demanding to play on MacBook Airs, especially older ones, which I'm trying to cater towards. So Vainglory is the best option if you are looking for a free MOBA on a MacBook Air. It can play at 60 frames per second on the highest settings, which looks great. Plus it offers cross-platform play between Mac, Windows, iOS and Android, which is fantastic. You can ignore the comments on Steam saying it's unplayable, as they are referring to the Windows PC version. The Mac version has no issues at all, based on my experience anyway. Number 4 is The Sims 4. This game is still being updated for Mac 4 years after it was released on our platform back in 2015. It has just received a new expansion titled Island Living, and in the coming months it will be updated to support the Metal API. The devs have also confirmed that with the Metal update it will still be playable on MacBook Airs back to 2012. This is great, as the game will run even better than it is now, and for the record, it already runs great on MacBook Airs, so I am excited. The Sims 4 is a simulation game where you look after Sims in the modern world. Number 3 is Cuphead. Cuphead is a run-and-gun action game. The devs said that the game was inspired by cartoons of the 1930s, from the visuals and audio. You play as Cuphead or Mugman in either single-player or local co-op, and you can go through worlds, find new weapons, use powerful moves, and discover secrets along the way. Cuphead recently received a huge update, Cuphead 1.2. It brings character selection, fully animated cinematics, new animations and art, additional languages, and, most importantly, Metal support for Mac. So the game runs great on MacBook Airs back to 2012. Number 2, we have The Gardens Between. The devs for this game, the Voxel Agents, have optimized this game so well that it can run on MacBook Airs back to 2012, and I was very surprised. I didn't think it would be able to. But do keep in mind, if you have a 2012 to 2013 Air model, you will get around 30 to 40 FPS at low or medium settings. But at these settings, the game still looks gorgeous in my opinion. It looks great. It's an adventure puzzle game where you can manipulate time to solve puzzles. It explores friendship, childhood memories, and happiness. Let's take a look at some notable mentions. Dirt Rally is a great racing game for MacBook Airs, and it actually plays pretty well at 30 frames on the older ones, but because Airs have poor graphics cards, this game must be played at the lowest settings. Grizz is an atmospheric platform game that follows a young girl lost in her own world. Darkest Dungeon is a challenging gothic roguelike turn-based RPG. It shows the psychological stresses of adventuring. Barbarian is a fast-paced hack-and-slash game. Please note it is only available for Mac on the App Store. Tactical Monsters Rumble Arena is a free-to-play strategy game with battles of monsters from all around the world. Number 1, we have Katana Zero. This is my favorite game on my 2013 MacBook Air. It is incredibly fun and well polished around every corner. Katana Zero is a stylish neo-noir action platformer which brings stunning visuals, fantastic music, fast-paced gameplay, and offers a very deep story. The gameplay has you slashing, dashing, and controlling time to get past levels. I highly suggest you check out this game if you have a MacBook Air or any other Mac for that matter. And that's it. If you own a MacBook Air, what games do you play on it? Were some of them on this list? Did I miss a game? Let me know in the comments. If you found this video useful, please leave a like as it really helps the channel greatly. And subscribe for more videos about Mac games. Thanks for watching.